Welcome to the fascinating field of de-extinction, the science exploring the resurrection of extinct species. A company named Colossal Biosciences recently generated significant media attention with a striking claim. They assert they have successfully recreated the dire wolf. Unsurprisingly, this announcement has ignited intense excitement, debate, and considerable controversy globally. So, today we are exploring this complex topic. What exactly is de extinction? How is it scientifically possible to bring back an animal that vanished long ago? What are the facts surrounding Colossal's dire wolf project? Is this a groundbreaking scientific achievement or a venture fraught with peril? Let's examine the details. Think of the process as a form of genetic reconstruction. First, scientists require the biological blueprint, the DNA. They attempt to extract this ancient genetic material from preserved remains of the extinct creatures, such as fossils, hair, or skin discovered in environments like permafrost or caves. Next involves sophisticated gene editing technology, most notably CRISPR. This acts like a highly precise molecular tool for cutting and pasting genetic code. Scientists compare the ancient DNA blueprint with that of the extinct animal's closest relative, for example, the Asian elephant in the case of a woolly mammoth. They then modify the living relative's DNA, reintroducing key genes from the extinct species to replicate its unique biological characteristics. Finally, this genetically modified cell is used to create an embryo, which is then implanted into a surrogate mother, typically an animal of a closely related species, to be carried to the term. Now, it is important to understand this isn't usually about creating a perfect 100% identical copy of the original species. Frequently, the objective is to create a proxy, a modern organism possessing the key functional traits of the extinct one. Colossal's Mammoth Project, for instance, aims to produce a cold resistant elephant exhibiting mammoth like characteristics and behaviors. Similar projects are underway for the Tasmanian tiger and the dodo bird. Let's return to the dire wolf, the center of the recent discussion. Colossal announced the creation of three pups: Romulus, Remus, and notably, of course, Khaleesi. Yes, the name familiar from the Game of Thrones, where dire wolves were prominently featured. A deliberate marketing choice or a mere coincidence? You decide. Their stated method involved analyzing ancient direwolf DNA fragments, identifying crucial genes, using CRISPR to insert these into gray wolf cells, and then employing cloning techniques with domestic dog surrogates to produce pups. It sounds extraordinary, perhaps almost too extraordinary for some, which leads us to the core of the debate. Before delving into the controversies, let's consider the motivations. Why are organizations investing substantial resources into this futuristic endeavor? Proponents like Colossal offer several justifications. A primary goal is ecosystem restoration. The idea is that bringing back keystone species, organisms that played a vital ecological role in, like mammoths, influencing grasslands or dire wolves regulating prey, could help restore balance to damaged environments. There is also an ethical argument about righting past wrongs, suggesting that since human activities caused many extinctions, we might have a responsibility to try and rectify that damage if we can. Furthermore, this research undeniably pushes science forward, accelerating progress in crucial fields like genetics, biotechnology, and reproductive sciences, which could yield broader benefits. Finally, there is an element of inspiration and potentially aiding conservation. The very possibility that extinction might not be final could invigorate efforts to protect currently endangered species and demonstrate our capacity to positively influence biodiversity. These arguments paint a compelling picture of harnessing advanced science for ecological recovery. However, there is another side to the story. De-extinction is surrounded by significant controversy and raises challenging ethical and practical questions. The fundamental issues revolve around what is actually being created. Many scientists remain skeptical, particularly regarding the dire wolf claim, arguing that the result isn't a true resurrection but rather a genetically modified hybrid with limited traits from the extinct species. Questions about genetic divergence and the lack of independent peer reviewed validation fuel this debate, leading some to wonder if it's about more of a branding than biology. Beyond that, there are serious concerns about the ecological risks and uncertainties. Releasing engineered creatures into modern ecosystems, which are vastly different from their ancient habitats, carries unpredictable consequences. Could they become invasive, harm native wildlife, or even reintroduce dormant diseases? And is there even suitable habitat left for them? We risk triggering ecological cascades we cannot foresee or control. Then we enter the moral maze of ethical considerations. Does humanity possess the wisdom, not just the power, to engage in such profound manipulation of life, effectively playing God? The welfare of created animals is another major concern, considering the invasive procedures involved in cloning and surrogacy and the potential for life lived in controlled environments. Is this ethically justifiable towards the animals themselves? Added to this is the critique that the focus often falls on charismatic megafauna for their public appeal, possibly diverting attention from less glamorous but ecologically critical conservation needs. Finally, and perhaps most contentiously, there is an issue of resource allocation and immense cost. De-extinction projects require massive financial investment, potentially running into billions per species. Critics, especially within the conservation community, argue passionately that these funds would be far more effectively used to protect the thousands of species currently facing extinction and habitat resurrection they depend on. Is chasing genetic ghost the best use of limited conservation resources? So, where does this complex issue leave us? De-extinction signifies a remarkable advance in scientific power, offering the potential to reshape biological history. But this power brings with it immense responsibility. Are we developing an essential tool for ecological restoration, or are we opening a Pandora's box of unforeseen consequences? Are we acting as responsible innovators, or perhaps venturing into territory with risks that outweigh the potential benefits? These are not merely scientific inquiries. They touch upon the fundamental questions about humanity's role on Earth, our relationship with the natural world, and the wisdom required to wield such transformative technologies ethically. What are your thoughts on this? Do you see de-extinction as an exciting frontier, a vital tool for the future? Or do you view it as a perilous path fraught with ethical dilemmas and misplaced priorities? Is this technology ultimately a blessing or a potential curse? I am keen to hear your perspectives. Please share them in the comments below. Let's continue this important discussion. And if you found this exploration of de-extinction thought-provoking, please consider liking this video, sharing it with others interested in science and ethics, and subscribing for more analysis of the science that is shaping our world. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.